All right, today we are cracking a code, but it's not some secret password or anything like that. No, we're cracking the code that makes you, well, you. We're going to take a look at the blueprint of our personalities, that inner wiring that really shapes how we see the world and how we show up in it.
Have you ever caught yourself thinking this? You look at a friend or your brother or even yourself in the mirror and just wonder, why are we all so different? Why is it that one person gets totally jazzed by a big party while someone else just wants to be in a quiet room with a good book? It's a question we all ask, especially when we're younger and just starting to figure out all these fascinating and sometimes, let's be honest, frustrating differences between people.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. It turns out that the secret to understanding other people, to building better friendships, better relationships, it all starts with taking one huge, important first step. And that is turning the spotlight around and getting to know yourself first.
So here's our game plan. We've touched on that big, universal question. Next, we'll get into a kind of map for yourself. Then, we'll explore 4 core preferences, figure out how to find your own personal blueprint, and finally, we'll talk about the real power that comes with knowing all this stuff.
Okay, so the map we're going to use is called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI for short. Now, I want to be super clear about this. This is not a test that's meant to stick you in a box. Not at all. Think of it more like a guide, a really helpful starting point for understanding yourself that was developed based on the incredible work of psychologist Carl Jung. It's just a tool to help us see our own natural ways of being.
And the whole thing is built on this really simple core idea: preference. A preference isn't about what you can or can't do. It's just about what feels most natural to you. What's your comfortable, go-to, default setting?
Here's the best way to think about it. Just think about your hands. You can sign your name with your dominant hand without even thinking, right? It's easy, it's effortless. Now, could you sign your name with your other hand? Yeah, of course you could, but it would feel super awkward, right? It would take way more focus, and it would probably feel pretty draining. Your personality preferences work exactly like that.
So, on this personality map, there are 4 main crossroads, and at each one, we all have a direction that just feels more natural to us. Your unique personality blueprint is just the combination of the 4 paths you tend to take. So let's check out the very first one.
This first crossroad is all about your energy. Where do you get your batteries recharged? If you have a preference for extroversion, the E, you get your juice from the outside world, from people, from action. You're the one saying, hey, let's study together. But if you have a preference for introversion, the I, you get energized from your inner world of thoughts and ideas. You'd probably say, you know what, I'd rather study alone so I can really focus. It's not about being shy, it's just about where you plug in to recharge.
So just take a second and think about that for yourself. After a super long, busy day, what sounds better to you? Being around a bunch of people and feeding off that energy, or having some quiet time all to yourself to just process everything? That's your first preference right there.
Okay, next up, how do you prefer to take in information? If you're a sensing type, or S, you trust what's real, what's concrete, what you can see and touch. You'd be the one suggesting, hey, let's sell cookies. I saw it work at another school. It's a safe bet. But if you're an intuitive type, an N, you're more interested in the patterns, the connections, the what-ifs. You might say, cookies? Kind of boring. What if we did something totally new, like a huge video game tournament? Let's innovate.
So which one sounds more like you? Do you tend to trust the hard facts right in front of you, or is your mind always jumping ahead to the bigger picture and what could be? Okay, let's head to the third crossroad.
Our third choice is all about how we make decisions. A thinking type, or T, likes to step back and make choices based on objective logic, on cause and effect. Watching a show like Squid Game, they'd be the ones pointing out all the plot holes, saying, that doesn't make any logical sense. On the other hand, a feeling type, an F, steps in and makes decisions based on their values and how it'll impact people. They would be totally caught up in the character's emotions and the show's powerful message. Think about it. When you have a really tough choice to make, what's your first instinct? Is it to break it down logically, like a big puzzle you have to solve? Or do you immediately start thinking about how your choice is going to make everyone feel? This brings us to our very last preference.
So, finally, how do you like to live in the outside world? A judging type, or J, loves a planned, organized life. They feel better when things are decided and settled. They're the ones saying, okay, we need to book this trip right now. But a perceiving type, a P, prefers to keep things flexible and spontaneous. They like to keep their options open and would much rather wait and see before locking in any plans.
So, which camp do you fall into? Are you team plan it all out with the color-coded calendar? Or are you team go with the flow, ready for whatever happens?
Okay, we've made our way through all 4 crossroads. Now for the really cool part. Let's see how these 4 choices come together to create your very own unique personality blueprint.
It's really just a simple 4-step recipe. You just pick one letter from each of those pairs we talked about, put them together, and boom, you've got your 4-letter personality type. There are 16 possible combinations in total, and each one has its own amazing set of strengths.
And a really neat way to start making sense of this is that those 16 types can actually be grouped into 4 big families or temperaments. You've got the SPs, the action-oriented realists, the SJs, the responsible community-minded folks, the NTs, the strategic rationalists, and the NFs, the empathetic idealists. It's just a great way to see the bigger picture of where you might fit.
So, we have this 4-letter code. But what's the big deal? Why does any of this actually matter? Well, this is where it all comes together. This is where you find the real power in knowing yourself.
Take the amazing story of the fashion designer Jason Wu. He said his family saw his unique talents and supported him long before he even really understood them himself. And that's such a key point. Knowing your blueprint isn't just for you. When the people around you get it, they can become your biggest supporters, cheering you on to be exactly who you are.
There's this beautiful little story about a girl named Anne, whose mom was kind of worried because she was always playing in the mud and exploring, and it seemed a little weird. But after the mom learned about her daughter's personality type, everything changed. She realized Anne wasn't strange. She was a natural explorer, a little gypsy girl at heart. And just that tiny shift in how she saw her daughter brought so much happiness and understanding to their relationship. It's powerful stuff.
And that right there is the most important thing to remember. This is not about boxing you in. It is the exact opposite. It's about giving you the words to understand your own natural gifts. It's about giving you the confidence to own your strengths and to build a life around them. It's about making sure the dream you're chasing is actually your dream, and not one that somebody else thinks you should have.
Carl Jung, the brilliant mind who started all of this, said it best. He said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that's really what this is all about.
So remember, figuring out your type isn't the finish line. It's just the map for a really incredible lifelong adventure of getting to know yourself better. So the real question isn't, what's your type, but what's your next step on the journey? Thanks for exploring with me.